What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of A Marriage Like That podcast with your host, the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan, and my beautiful bride, the Mrs. Scene Snob, Mary the Mommy.
Hello, everyone.
Well, we're back again, and we're doing a post-Thanksgiving episode.
That's right.
Because we figured we'd see what happened during Thanksgiving.
Yes.
How'd it go? Well, we started Thanksgiving festivities a little earlier.
We did. And you know what? It really messed up my entire week because we had Thanksgiving with my parents and my siblings on Sunday.
The Sunday before Thanksgiving.
The Sunday before Thanksgiving, thank you. And so that Monday I kept thinking was Friday, and I just was off the entire week. So, but it was fun, I think.
It did screw me up too. But it was good because our yearly tradition is like we do it at home.
Our new one.
Well, yeah, it's our second year.
Yes.
So, but I mean, we're married 5, so that's a tradition.
Yeah,
I'd say that's kind of a tradition. And we like doing it. Like we like the relaxing vibe of home.
We cooked and ate in our pajamas, and let me tell you, it was amazing.
I remember you kept saying to everybody, it was like, I'm not changing out of my pajamas.
And you kept saying, we are going to dress up. You are not wearing your pajamas. And I was like, watch me.
You did get changed, but I never changed out of my pajamas.
Did I get changed?
Yes, you went out. You wanted to work on the leaves.
Okay, I wanted to work on the leaves? Or...
All right, well, yes.
So I put on jeans to go work in the yard not even in the yard, it was just to do that.
Doesn't mean if you didn't want to.
I know.
So,
but you could have done it, I guess.
I did do it.
So my dream was your reality.
I did the night before, I don't want to hear it.
No, it's true.
So, yeah, that killer
Still
winds
counts.
we had the night before Thanksgiving.
Wizard of Oz outside.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Which is now a verb.
And then we thought it was going to rain on Thanksgiving, so I went out there to clean out the gutters and everything and get the leaves cleaned out. And then that wind killed us, and it was packed with, I bagged all of those leaves.
I saw you do it.
And then the next day...
It was 3 times as bad as it was when you went out there.
I'm like, what happened here? So
I even warned you. I was like, just don't look outside.
I know.
And you waited hours. It was hours till you did.
And that's why I didn't want to go out. I was like, this is bull.
It was.
I was so mad.
It was. But I think that wind did take most of the leaves the remaining leaves off the tree. So I think we're pretty done with the leaf falling.
I hope so.
And both of our neighbors. So our property is a little bit lower than both neighbors that flank us. And so their leaves come into our yard. Both of them acknowledged this. Every time we were out in the yard, they'd be like, don't work too hard because our leaves are just going to come into your yard. Ha ha! And I was like, that is not funny. Why are you laughing at this?
Flank, huh? Are you using your
thesaurus?
Your military lingo?
Yeah.
My little veteran. Which got us a discount at Lowe's today, so I'm not upset about it.
Oh, nice. It did. Very cool.
Yeah, because they offer it to spouses of veterans, too.
Did George ever get your shirt?
What shirt? The Airman shirt? Yeah. I forget what it was. No, I never got that.
Oh, I'll have to get with him on that.
But, yeah, so we did that, but we ate. Oh, man. So we got
we eat?
Well, we ate twice because the dinner at your parents' house, your mom always goes all out. So we had a nice turkey dinner. We got that in.
It was amazing.
So
corn casserole.
Which was funny because
my sister made a avocado salad, which was insanely delicious.
Which was funny because the night before we decided to use the Instant Pot.
Yeah.
And cook a turkey.
Yeah.
Was it the night before boneless turkey breast. No, it was the night before.
Okay.
And we were, maybe it was 2 nights before. Yeah, I'm so confused.
I know, me too.
So we used the Instant Pot for the turkey breast that we had, the boneless turkey breast. And it was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal.
If you don't have an Instant Pot, get one. They're
awesome. What's funny about those? So one of the neighbors who, I will forgive this one because she did gift us the Instant Pot. Yeah. But I always heard it whenever anybody had talked about it. I thought it was Instapot.
No, it's instant.
No, I realized that. So because when she brought it over, I was like, "Oh, this must be like a generic one because it's Instant Pot."
Yeah.
And then so when I googled it, I was like, "Oh, silly Mary."
That thing is amazing.
It's amazing. My next feat is going to be a cheesecake. I cannot wait.
Oh God, I can only imagine how that will go.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
But so then we ate turkey again at your parents'.
Yes.
And they had all the trimmings. They had everything.
Everything.
It was amazing. And it was fun enough. Fun time.
Chocolate pie, pumpkin, gooey dessert. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sticky.
like gooey pumpkin dessert or something like that. It was like a cake.
Yeah. It's like a pie cake.
And then 4 days later, we have Thanksgiving in a row.
Yep. But we had ham this time.
Yes, that's why we were happy with the turkey, because we always do ham.
Mm-hmm.
So like ham's our thing, and it's it's just easier to make. And
I love honey baked hams.
Yeah, and so that's our Thanksgiving tradition, and so we went in and it was just us and the boys, and we watched the parade in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, you and I watched the parade. The boys really could have cared less.
No, they watched it for a while. I mean, it's a 3-hour parade.
Fair.
They're not gonna make everything.
Yeah.
So we watched that. Then we just kind of hung out and decorated.
Well, so everything would have been wonderful. However, I mistakenly looked at the biscuit instructions right before I was going to put them in the oven to realize that it was a leave out for 3 to 5 hours or put them in the fridge the night before. I was livid. But then again, I realized, and it was, to your point, very sweetly, that it was our Thanksgiving. We can eat whenever we want. There's no time limit. There's no, deadline. And that made me feel, and that, it really did. Like, it really made me feel so nice. And it, made it better, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad. And then we did. We ate a little later, but I think it worked out well.
It wasn't that much later,
we
though.
We had a nice breakfast that morning.
Yeah, I also made breakfast.
So, then the
It was like I knew it was going to take longer.
Yeah. Then the proverbial cleanup.
Which wasn't too bad.
No, we got it nice and cleaned up. I think because we worked it out. And I used to be all for big Thanksgivings. Mm-hmm. Let's get everybody together and have a good time.
Friends, family, everybody's welcome.
Well, I liked Friendsgivings more than anything because I did that a lot when I was a filmmaker. So,
well, true.
Friendsgivings.
It depends on which friends are involved.
That's fair, but never had a problem with Friendsgiving. No, but so we did that, but then we started decorating
for Christmas.
I pulled everything out on
Friday while you were
at work, and then we got.
Which thankfully that day is over because I was so whatever.
Yeah, you did not want to work Black Friday.
I did not want to.
You were pissed.
But it's fine. It was a good day. It went by fast. Hardly anybody was on the road.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't bad. And like you said, I came home and most of the decorations were out. I'd say half the boxes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There was way more in there.
Because we have like 12 bins of Christmas decorations.
And we only put up the inside decorations. Yeah. We didn't even do the outside.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But we're in a rental, so I don't think. And we're going to be gone so much over the next 2 weeks. Because
Mary's got a trip coming up tomorrow. You leave for something you've been dreaming about forever.
Holy cow. Oh my stars.
Shall I say
Pun
it?
intended.
Do you want to say it?
I am going to Florida, to Cape Canaveral, to watch a rocket launch from and with NASA. Not only that, but I'm going to go on a tour with the astronauts. I'm going to get photo ops on the space pad, next to the rocket, on the launch pad. I'm going to get to talk to the engineers. It's going to be amazing. I am beyond excited about this.
Now, for those of you who know or may not know, rather, as you know, I'm a nerd for a lot of things. Now, there's 2 things Mary I know is a big nerd about. A lot of other stuff, she doesn't fake it, but she just kind of likes it. Like Star Wars, Star Trek. Like, you're just kind of like, yeah, no, it's cool. Good. It's cool. But you're a big nerd for Doctor Who.
Yes.
And NASA. Anything NASA. Space travel, all that jazz. Even working at the FAA, like, it was like...
It's kind of like NASA's little stepbrother.
Yes. So, I don't want to get too involved, like, with the work aspect of why you're there, what you'll be doing, because
so it's a social event. So, and I came to realize that they do this with almost every single launch.
Mm-hmm.
They put out this application process where any social media user can apply to get a pass to this. Now you have to pay for your travel and what have you, but
well, I guess the scenesnobs.com is just going to have to apply.
No, but seriously, I mean, if there are rocket launches in your area or whatever, or you have the means to get yourself there, absolutely apply. At first I was denied and I was put on the wait list, and so I really just put it to the back of my mind. But that day that I got that email that said I was off the wait list, I was giddy at my desk, and I actually squealed where people were like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you okay?" Mm-hmm. Yes, everything is fine. Right as rain over here.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I mean, I'm gonna miss you. You're gonna be gone for 4 days, but like, at least you're going to do something like you've always wanted to do. See, I don't like. I love that too. I love space. I love NASA only because it fits into my sci-fi love, or my love of sci-fi, I should say. And like I said, I might even apply for this application for Scene Snobs.
You should.
And I'm going to get my buddy Bill Shatner to come on a tour with me.
Do it.
Get Captain Kirk out there himself. But
this is Space Lab.
Don't you make fun of Bill?
I would never make fun of Bill. Hello. You know what my first real introduction to him was?
What?
Ace Ventura.
Was he in Ace Ventura?
He wasn't. And Jim Carrey does the impression of him at the bottom of the tank. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Knocked the table. I'm still learning all this podcast stuff.
Yeah.
As I cough in the background.
You know what you don't do? Is talk about it.
Oh, no. Fourth wall. Fourth wall?
Breaking the fourth wall?
Is it the fourth wall when it's a podcast? Or is it like the
really.
second wall?
Not really. I mean, it's still the fourth wall.
Oh.
Because it's the listener. You're breaking into the audience. Yes, it's more of a movie term or a TV term.
Well, I apologize to all of you professionals out there who listen to this.
But no, that is funny.
It's true, though.
Well, God, and I'm just thinking about that. Did I ever tell you the Sean Young story where she talked out of her butt to me?
Oh my God, I don't think so.
We'll get to that. Let's talk about the NASA trip.
That should be a video.
Because we worked on that movie together.
No, you did tell me that.
And yeah, that was a.
Is she?
There was a couple.
Is she crazy? Is she like endearing crazy, or is she like I'm gonna look over my shoulder crazy?
She was really fun to know.
Okay.
Like, I don't know her anymore. Like I saw her at the premiere, and a few times after that, and things like that.
But like during the time that you interacted with her,
there was a lot of. I wouldn't say she's any less crazy than anybody else in Hollywood.
Fair.
Like star wise, like she's a star. Like,
no, it's
and
true.
for me, I'm working. Like she was in Blade Runner, so for me, I was like, I'm working on a movie.
No, I know, but you hear the Catwoman story where she like.
Yeah, I think that would. Again, that's like at any point you find yourself. When it comes to like celebrities, there's a certain type of crazy they need to be, like actors especially, because there's a certain amount of let go they need.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like even when we met Matthew Modine, he was down to earth, but it seemed like he was down to earth, but he was still in a position where, to the layman, it might be crazy.
Mm.
Like I wouldn't call him crazy. I've seen crazy, but I wouldn't call him crazy, or I wouldn't call Sean Young crazy. Yeah. I would say
that was a little more publicized, maybe for the benefit of the movie, perhaps.
She kind of got railroaded on a lot of things with that. So I think she, at that time when she did that, I can't personally speak for her.
Well, no, of course
she was dating Tim Burton. She was supposed to play Vicky Vale in the Batman movie. And she got hurt, and it was given to Kim Basinger. And then they had broken up, and she was, but they were friends, and she was vying for the role of.
I can't see her over Kim Basinger though.
You can't because you see it now, but her star was way bigger than Kim Basinger's back then.
At that time, yeah.
So, like,
that's fair.
I could see her being cast in that, but nobody could see Michael Keaton either.
That
how much
fair.
Backlash. There was more backlash for Michael Keaton on Batman than there was for Heath Ledger getting.
That's true.
Joker.
Did you know that Doris Day was up to play Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate? Could you have imagined that?
I have heard that. I don't know the truth behind it, if that is true, but I did hear that, and I heard the rumor was nobody would believe that she could play Mrs. Robinson, and she wanted that role.
Well, I heard that nobody wanted to see her topless because she was such a wholesome...
I believe it.
And me too. I could never see her in that. I mean, agreed, but speculation.
Again, yeah, I don't know that. I don't know the facts behind that, but when it comes to Hollywood, print the legend, especially Hollywood. But like with Sean Young, like she has a lot of views that like a lot of people like. It's not. I don't even say it's like left or right or any type of that. I want to say that like
she's just vocal.
She would just start talking about things that was like, well, we weren't having any conversation like that at all, and like go off on a tangent about it, and we're just like, but you'll listen to her because she's fascinating to listen to.
Oh, and I love to watch her talk, and I love her voice, so I would absolutely listen to any rant that she would go on.
So when she's talking about that stuff, you're kind of like, oh, okay, like I'm along for the ride.
Sure.
But I don't know how we got here.
Yeah, right.
So
I think my stop was 3 miles back that way.
And, that was a fun shoot too. That was my first shoot.
No.
Are we getting into this, or are we going on back to NASA? Because I don't want to keep going.
NASA. No, we can go on.
We'll have a
NASA episode.
I want to have a post
after
NASA trip.
That is right. I'm going to be head to toe in NASA gear.
No. Oh God.
Just wait.
Can I have a flight suit?
I do this podcast, and I need a flight suit.
Yeah, podcast.
My post episode.
Oh my God.
My post launch episode.
That will have to be our first video episode. So that was my first shoot working. I moved to Los Angeles to start this shoot.
That's awesome. No, I don't think I heard this whole story. I mean, you told me you worked with her, but not.
Yeah, Mel and Joe. Mel and Joe worked on it. Joe was working on the camera department, and then he edited the movie. Mel was the first AD on the movie, and I was the script supervisor. So I moved out to LA, got out there, and was on set the next day. Like slept on the floor because I was moving in with Mel and Joe.
Oh, okay.
So and they weren't. We all slept on the living room floor because we were taking the apartment from other filmmakers who were moving, I think, to Louisiana or something.
Oh, who dat?
So we were sleeping. It was like till the end of the month. Like this was like September or something back in like 2008, I think. So we all slept on the living room floor until they moved out, and then like we took our respective bedrooms.
That is crazy.
That's how it is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
If you move out there, you sleep on a friend's floor until you've gotten ready to go. And we've had many people sleep on our couch or on the floor and stuff just to
be there.
Kind of get there. You gotta it's paying it forward.
Yeah.
So we go out and we do that, and I'm on set. It's this beautiful mansion in the hills, in Cahuenga Hills, and it's got this on the driveway, this beautiful picturesque landscape view of the city. And that was my first,
love at first sight.
Oh yeah. And I remember I was talking to quite a few crew members, and like they were just like first time. I was like yes. I was like, because I remember working all day, and I'm like, this is gorgeous. Even with the smog and everything, I was like, this is gorgeous. I was like, whatever. And then the night and all the lights, you're just like, oh my God. So it was amazing. But anyway, I'm going a little too far. I want to talk about the Sean Young thing. So we're standing outside, and like when I say the craziness, like the endearing craziness, it was something like this. Like we were talking, and somebody asked. We were all outside, and it was just downtime, and we're just BSing with Sean Young. And somebody asked her, like, "Hey, so what was Jim Carrey like?" And she jumped up, and she bent over, and she starts talking. No, he'll just do like this, and starts talking out of her butt, and like he did in the movie. And then she's just like all over the place, but like she's talking really nice about him and everything. And you're just like, all right, this is a little crazy. It's a little erratic, the way you're acting. But it's, again, I think it's an actor thing. I think it's because passionate actors put themselves into it, and even when they're telling a story on downtime on set.
Yeah.
So, something like that. And,
That's true. You do have to have a sense of, I don't want you to knock it over.
oh, my water?
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to do some hand motions, but it wasn't. But yeah, no, I would see that you would need a certain sense of, so, and I've told you this before, one of my dreams, since I was little, like little, one of my first memories is that I've always wanted to be an actress. No, didn't matter, play, movie, whatever. I just wanted to be an actress. I used to act things out, when we were on, I distinctly remember being on a car trip one time, and I was like acting something out, and then I didn't realize anybody was watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sisters, I like look up, and my sisters have been watching me, God only knows how long, and started laughing at me. But I have such a fear of being in front of, on the stage, and so what you're speaking of, like that sense of erraticism or, non-modesty.
Well, I think a lot of it, that's a good point, but I think a lot of it too, just with, like, I never took it, like, when I was acting, I never took it to this extent. I think you need to. I think if you're going to become a star as an actor, you need to have that kind of erratic type nature, like you said, that no modesty, just kind of going out there.
Yeah.
Because
nobody's going to believe it.
You're sitting there and acting, and you see your sisters, and you get so embarrassed.
Yes.
But actors, these stars, they have to be willing to be that whenever they need to
especially when someone is watching.
And not care who's watching and what they think.
Exactly.
So I think that adds to it. I think that helps build to stardom, like makes you a star. It's that thing. It's one of those things, I should say. Like, yeah, you can have a look or you can have this or that. But I think if you're going to be a true star, you almost have to have like, when I was talking to you about Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I was like, he always has something in his hands. He likes to be busy. Mm-hmm. And then, like, Ocean's 11, he was always eating and stuff like that. But, like,
Man After My Own Heart.
All his movies, he's always got something in his hands.
And I never noticed that until you said it.
And he talked about it in an interview on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because they're like, we always find your hands are busy. He's like, I feel like I should always be busy. Or, he's like, I can't just keep my hands down my side. And he's like, I feel like it's more natural to be busy when you're doing these things. And that makes sense, but I think that's an erratic behavior.
True.
That he's adopted as an actor that helps add to his star. Like when he said it was intentional on Ocean's 11 that he was eating, and every time you saw him he was eating, is because he plays this criminal who's always on the run.
Right.
So he can never sit down for a meal. So he's always eating when he's going. So whenever you see him, he's eating. I loved that. But again, it's this erratic behavior you have to add to it. Like, that's just another part. He's added his erratic behavior of always needing to have your hands busy, going into a movie and making it be like, well, my hands always have to be busy. Why would this guy's hands be busy?
Right.
And I love that. And, like, on a case with Sean Young, like, she was very, like, she reminded me very much of, like, a theater actor who tries to make it larger than life.
Yeah.
But not when she was on camera. When she was on camera, it's like she knew the right emotion, she did what she had to do, she did the line, and was
very controlled.
Very talented actor.
Yes, very.
So, but when she was off camera, she knew who she had to be on set.
Right.
She knew, like, we went in and we were doing this movie, and it was called Signal Lost. So anybody it's on Amazon Prime. And you could see it. We were working 22 hours one day. And by hour 21, we were like...
everybody was in the best
done.
mood. Yeah.
And we were doing this dinner scene, and it took hours to do this dinner scene. Just hours and hours, and them sitting there, and we were exhausted. Everybody was just miserable. I had my head under a pillow laying on the couch. I wasn't asleep. I was listening to everything, but I was just kind of like
over-censored. Yeah.
And because we had to be back the next day to shoot, and I was just exhausted. And like it was like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And Sean Young, she's at the head of the table in the scene, and she stands up and she talks to the entire crew, and she's like, we do this. I forget exactly what she said, but it's very impassioned about like why we do what we do and loving the filmmaking and what why we're here and not to forget that. And like, it was very motivating. But it wasn't, I don't think it was landing. Because it was just too far past that exhausted period. We weren't supposed to work past 16. So it was too far past. I think she was motivating us, but at the same time, we didn't have any left.
Right.
And I saw that coming. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but like,
beat.
Even I was just like tired.
Yeah.
But I was like, she's right.
Yeah.
And that was like my producing hat on, like
Sure.
from college and stuff like that, and other films I produced. I was like, she's right in everything she's saying, but it's not landing because I know it's not even landing for me.
Yeah.
So I lifted the pillow up. I was like, the laces were out, and she jumps up without hesitation and goes, "The laces were in," and pointing at me, and everybody lost it on set.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody loses it, and she's just like. And like she's like, yeah, they were, like just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And then we shot for like another hour and a half.
That's awesome.
And we got it done, and we were happy, and everybody laughed, and like it was a good time. So that was my experience with her. Her erraticism, things like that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
No, you never told me that story. That's a cool story.
So,
I like that one.
That was a really fun time. And actually, the director of that, you'll appreciate this. Oh, I cannot remember.
Don't tell me what to do.
His name is Joe, I think. I have to look it up. I want to look it up, but his name is Joe. There was two directors. But,
and what was this movie for?
This was a short film.
Okay. Because it's funny, every time you're talking about your Hollywood life and you mention Joe, I always think of Mel and Joe. And it's funny because I only met Joe the one time at our wedding, and I've never met Mel. But because you talk about so I've been dealing with a little post-nasal drip action, so I'm a little coughy.
And I'm sitting here trying to look up what we've done. Oh, here it is, signal lost. So
Good, because I don't think I could have carried that conversation
you
much
could do
longer.
it. Yeah, Steve Richard Harris and Kenny Johnston, not Joe. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Oh, you were way off.
I was way off. They were both really nice guys. A lot of fun. They were both actors that were getting into directing. Kenny Johnston was the guy. He played the first Harley on Boy Meets World.
Oh.
Do you remember the character of Harley? He was like the cool guy in the school.
So
You didn't
I have
watch
to
Boy Meets
admit,
World?
I never really watched Boy Meets World.
Well, a marriage like that just ended in a divorce. No.
Wow. That's what you're going to take a stand on? After everything we've been through, it's going to be Boy Meets World that ends it?
Might be, because that means you don't understand the true love of Corey Matthews and Topanga Lawrence.
I think I've seen enough episodes where I understand the true love.
Well, that hurts my heart.
Topanga.
Well, anyway, he played the first Harley.
Sorry, that was
I
loud,
thought that was
but
awesome.
Topanga.
You leave Topanga alone. That's amazing. And it's a TV show name where she played the daughter of a hippie, so it works.
Oh, all right.
So, yeah. So anyway, anybody who's a Boy Meets fan world out there,
Boy Meets fan world,
Boy Meets world fan. Kenny Johnston directed Signal Lost, and he was the first Harley.
So,
Yeah.
Tommy earlier made a fairly hilarious joke because we were talking about the podcast.
Oh God!
And you were talking about the fans of the show, or and speaking kind of abstractly, and he goes, "What are you talking about? You only have one fan." And then he points to your fan, like the black fan that pulls you down. I don't know if you caught that joke, but I was dying.
I was angry, and that's why he hasn't eaten in 3 days. Just kidding. He has eaten he eats well.
He does eat.
And no, I did catch it. That was a
never
funny.
stop eating. But can I have a snack? What you got?
I know.
Oh my gosh! I was packing, and I had a bag of snacks for the plane ride and the hotel, etc. And our youngest, Jack, tried to take my bag of snacks. I was like, "These are my favorite things. I'm going to put these over here. This is my dinner."
Yeah, I think he even said it. He was like, "These are all.
He did.
These are all my favorite things. I want these." And yeah,
I kept putting them farther and farther from.
And it's just like he wanted to eat. We just ate the first breakfast, and then you were going to make a big breakfast, kind of for lunch because it was around lunchtime. It was a brunch type thing.
Yeah. Because we had to go to Lowe's this morning and run a couple errands.
Yeah.
First thing,
And then he was, Tommy was like, he had eaten, and we went to Lowe's, and then we're coming back, and we're gonna make breakfast. And then he was like, okay, great. And it was like 10:30, and he was like, can I have lunch at 11:30 though? Because that's when I eat lunch at school, and I know I'm gonna be hungry around that. I'm like,
it was
what?
like 10. It was like right around 10 because I remember.
Then we had this big old breakfast that you made us, brunch, and then he asked for a snack like an hour later. And then we gave him pretzels.
Legit.
And then he's like, when is lunch?
No.
I'm like, come on, dude.
And every time Jack comes in, he's like, can I have something to eat? Can you make me something?
Oh, God.
Every time.
Or when he runs in and he's just like, well, what are you doing? Anything?
Anything.
And he means it. Because I
does mean it.
I was like, do you mean nothing? And he's like, no, I mean anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God, here we go.
What was it that he did where we were so mad at him and we just said, we laughed. It happened twice in like the past 24 hours where we tried so hard to be mad and we could not stop laughing. And you know what's funny is that when my oldest sister, who I lived with at the time, so we were very close. It wasn't my first niece or nephew, but when her son was very young, and she used to be mad and try and discipline him, and she would laugh, and I'd be like, you can't laugh at him. He's never going to take you seriously. If you are really this angry, then you need to be the grown-up. And, like, chastised her. Like, I vividly remember this, and she was just like, just wait.
Yeah.
And legit, so true. It is so hard. Because then everybody's laughing, and you're like, no, there's a point. You can't do this.
But it makes me wonder about my parents. Because I don't ever remember them just breaking out laughing. I'm like, was I not funny?
I know.
Did I not do
was
anything?
Was I not cute enough?
Yeah, I'm like, what? But,
maybe they were just old pros, because we were like the third and fourth kid at that point, so.
Which is a joy that we have to do on next week when you get back from NASA.
NASA!
Is we've got to drive straight up to Jersey to visit your grandfather, your step grandmother, and your aunt.
Yep. I'm gonna unpack from NASA, and then pack for New Jersey. We're gonna go pick Tommy up and hit the road.
And then afterwards, we got to drive up to my parents' house.
That's right. And then we're gonna drive down to see Lenny and Kelly and Ethan.
And then right back out of there.
And then home.
Right back to Virginia.
It's gonna be a whirlwind trip. Hopefully home by, what day are we coming home?
I want 48 hours and we're back.
Is it 48 hours? It is. No.
It's probably a little more than 48 hours.
Yeah.
No.
Because we're leaving Thursday, Friday from Grampy to your parents.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, that's
stop
3
by
days.
Wendy's for like an hour or
That's
two.
3 days. That's 72 hours.
That's not, no. Half of Thursday into Friday is 24 hours, then half into Saturday. It's 48. It's 48, not counting the drive back.
48 is 2 days.
Yes. It's
drive time. Okay, let's move on from this because this is.
Yeah, because you're wrong.
Because you're wrong.
Anyway.
We will table this until later when I prove that you're wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to get too deep today. We did watch a movie, though.
We speaking of long stretches of time,
I was so mad.
Did watch a movie.
I was so mad at you. As soon as I saw that was on Netflix,
at like
I was
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, it was earlier than that. It was the morning. Because I was like, oh wait, it's the 27th, and I was like, I gotta check. And then I saw it was on, and I'm like, I'm going downstairs to watch this.
It was The Irishman.
The Irishman, yeah.
And I said, no, you're not going to go down for 4 hours and watch this movie.
It's epic.
That I wanted to see, considering how many TV shows have you started that you asked me if I wanted to watch them, and I said yes, and you started watching them.
Oh, I did do that with the morning show, didn't I?
You did. And
that was a good show.
Maybe not. Maybe that was the only one. However, I was like, no, we can put the kids to bed early. The night before I had stayed up late. I was like, no, and I did. I made a couple of jokes about, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed, let's finish this, because I'm funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I hung out.
We did. You did. You finished the movie. It's shocking how little you know about Jimmy Hoffa.
Who?
Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, no, I know.
You walked right into that.
Oh, shut up. I hate that. I hate that joke. So, it is kind of funny. But, like, it's also shocking how much you think I know about Jimmy. Because
one of the most endearing things that you poke lovingly at my mom and our children about is how many questions we will ask about whether you have seen it or not, whatever we are watching at the moment.
But this isn't...
Because I'll be like, who is that? What are they going to do? What's happening?
I can tell you about
I can't help it!
I can tell you about... Yeah, I know. That drives me crazy. I could tell you about the Hoffa movie I watched with Jack Nicholson back in the 90s. And tell you,
I didn't see that one.
But it ended differently than it did in...
Well, that's because nobody admitted that they killed him.
Yeah.
Like this one
Well,
did.
that's what I'm saying. But, like...
Oh, spoiler.
Like, no,
Yeah,
come on. That's what he's famous for. But, so, anyway, The Irishman is all about Frank Sheeran, who was a hitman.
I had never heard of before this movie came out.
He was like an enforcer-type hitman for the Buffalino, and, yeah. Very cute. You gonna talk over me on the podcast? I should just keep, like, correcting you.
Yeah, let's see how that goes.
That would go really well. So, oh man, you blew it out on that one. So he was an enforcer, hitman for the Buffalino crime family in Philly. And I'm telling you. So, I'm telling you just based on what I watched in the movie. And I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but, like...
It was so good.
It was such a good movie. But then eventually he becomes kind of an enforcer for Jimmy Hoffa, who is working with the mob. You know, he's corrupt as the day is long. And, oh my God, I did a review about it. So I don't think people want to know more about, like, what I think if they watch my review.
That's true.
But
I really enjoyed it. So so the first thing that I noted, and we had talked about this before on an earlier podcast, was the, what is it called? The euthaning CGI?
De-age. Oh, no, they call it euthanizing.
No, that's when you kill someone.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's what they call it. Well, either way, it's a de-aging.
Well,
Let's just say de-aging.
Okay. The younging. Whatever. The CGI that they use to make
How
someone look
is it different than de-aging? Just say de-aging.
De-aging. Because it sounds like D'Angelo.
De-younging doesn't sound right.
I know.
De-aging
Nothing sounds
does.
right. So, because nothing is right about this. Sorry. I am so... Okay, I have so many points to make right now. My first point is that early on in the movie, I made a comment when it was during one of those CGI'd scenes that it looked like his head was superimposed on the body. Mm-hmm. It just... Something looked off about it. And you made a comment that during certain scenes, there was a body double used because, you know, the actor is 60s, but they're supposed to be in their 40s, and which I got. However, and I was speaking, so I work with an actor who does play. He was just he just played on Rocky Horror Picture Show, the butler. The name is completely Riff-Raff. Thank you. Sorry, embarrassed, but name completely escaped me. He is amazing. He's a great guy. You know, I've had a lot of really cool conversations based on things like Superman and like the Sony Marvel fight. Spider-Man.
Not Superman.
Jesus.
What is going on with you?
Hundreds tonight. I told you I don't
feel
good. Whatever.
1,000. What is happening right now? You really are sick. I don't know if you should get on a plane tomorrow.
Oh, I'm getting on a plane. However, so I was talking to him about it, and you know, I said, and I brought up The Godfather, which is another movie that features many of the same actors.
You want to turn off that alarm while we're on the podcast?
Many of the same actors that are on this, that are in this movie. And I said, you know, during certain eras, they have different actors that play the same person through different parts of their life. And I said, while sometimes it's hard to play along or follow along with that, you know, and I think The Godfather was a hard, or maybe not the best example because it's so well known that you just innately know which character is which. However, it did make it easier to know to like follow along with the timeline because it literally was the same actor playing all of these different generations. But I just, you know, the actors that could play or that they could have play these different generational timelines, it really bothers me that they would, you know, not only use the money to pay these, you know, Robert De Niro, who they absolutely deserve every penny they get because they're phenomenal actors, but pay them, you know, twice or however many times more because they're playing more scenes, and put up the money to use this, you know, computer application to do all of this, the manpower, etc., when you could just help a young actor boost his career and further his, you know, it's, I mean, the only thing I can liken it to, because it's my profession, is the aviation workforce. You know, one of the big things at the FAA is getting young people engaged and excited about a job in aviation. But if you keep having the old people take over all of these roles, there's not going to be anything for the young people. And so I am planting my foot in the dirt, sand, whatever, against this. But I love the movie.
We talked about this a few episodes ago, I think at the beginning of the month, and I kind of agreed with you about seeing younger, hopefully saying this technology is not going to take away from younger actors getting jobs. And then I watched this movie. And while, first of all, it is still years away from being perfected, because it doesn't, like, when you go back and, like, it's Robert De Niro back when he was serving World War II and he's supposed to be in his 20s or whatever, or maybe even younger, it doesn't look like Robert De Niro when he was in Taxi Driver. It doesn't look like Robert De Niro in Mean Streets when he was in his 20s. It looks like Robert De Niro's face back then, but he's got the body that he has now. So it doesn't work.
Right.
It looks strange, but it didn't take away from you on this. And the reason I was like, I'm kind of cool about it is, and I have a question to pose after this, but we got a masterful performance from three of the best actors of all time,
who work so well together. Like, just everything they do together is money.
Oh yeah, and watching Joe Pesci back out there again, especially in my opinion, and he was flawless.
He was flawless.
There are some amazing flawless actors who are young, but they would not pull off the performance he did.
But you don't know. It's going back to...
I do know.
But it's going back to Kim Basinger and Sean Young. You don't know what one could have done. You just don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, a lot of people said that Michael Keaton doesn't work. He doesn't look the part. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. And he got the part.
And he did it.
And
You're making my own point.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I think in my mind I'm doing another point. Well, I do see the worry of it. You know, but at the same time, too, if there's a send-off that Martin Scorsese was going to do, I want to see him do it with these three actors.
That's fair. Is he retiring?
No, but if God forbid, but I mean he's in his 80s. Like, God forbid.
Martin Scorsese is?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain he's up there. I mean,
Jeez,
regardless.
I don't think I realized that.
Then maybe he's in his 60s. Yeah. You know, but like.
Well, that's way different than in your 80s.
Well, I don't know
maybe
for
not,
sure.
I guess. I mean, is that like when you're a teenager and you think that 30 is old? And now when we're in our 30s, we're like, F you?
It is kind of old. But no, but you got this, like, I can't get over the masterful performance of Joe Pesci in this movie. Everybody was great in this movie. He's 77.
Wow.
So he's almost 80.
Yeah.
And now I hope we get 20 more movies out of him. Because it doesn't seem like he's slowed down.
Right.
You know, even when you see him in interviews, like, he seems very, like, fresh. Like,
right.
I cannot say the same about most of the actors in the movie, but you know, Martin Scorsese still seems fresh, still seems on top of things, you know, whatever. So I'm fine with, give me more movies from him. But if he's never going to get Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, or Joe Pesci on there again. This was a great movie to end with. Like you say, God forbid one of them passes. Like, this is an epic movie.
Oh, it was so epic. Oh, everything I said does not take away from the amazingness of the movie. It was incredible. It was, 3.5 hours? And it really did not seem that long. I mean, I've seen shorter movies that felt like a lifetime, and this one was so well done.
But now, you take what you were saying, too. Like, this is one of the best movies of the year, in my opinion. Now, one of the other best movies of the year, which was like almost an epic movie within itself, by Tarantino, was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And you had a younger, but still flawless cast of actors in that movie with Brad Pitt, Leonardo
I don't
DiCaprio.
know. They would really be younger than Joe Pesci.
Younger than Joe Pesci and
I didn't know if you meant generally speaking.
They may be the middle-aged to...
Middle-aged.
But we're talking about like senior citizens to middle-aged.
Right.
And then like, okay, I'll try and think of a...
Well, like Margot Robbie probably would be younger. More younger, isn't she? Young? I don't know.
Oh, she's younger. She's in her 20s. Yeah, absolutely. But she did a fantastic job. Now, she may not be a flawless actress, but she will be one day.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. Lupita Nyong'o. I'm trying to think of young actors who are
there
like
were a
flawless.
Lot of them. Yeah.
Well, no, she wasn't. She was in Us.
General. Right.
But like, what I'm saying is thinking of young actors who are like flawless in their performances. I'm not even going there. I get so much hate on Twitter for that. Oh my god.
No, sorry. All right.
I got a lot of, in the past 2 weeks I got a lot of hate on Twitter. And I didn't say anything bad.
Yeah.
Like there was it wasn't like I smeared anybody. It's not like I was sexist, racist or anything like that. I was just like, it was an opinion of movies.
Right.
And I was just like, I can't even have an opinion on movies anymore?
But see, that's the thing. Nobody can have an opinion on anything that's against what the person writing feels themselves.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, I got a lot of hate, and I was just like, what are you kidding me? Like,
you got added to lists. I mean,
and I never even knew there were lists. Like, I was like, I didn't know what that was, but all that said to me was there are actual people on Twitter making lists of other people on Twitter that they hate.
Yep.
That's what school shooters do.
I know.
And I don't want to get like crazy about that.
That's not what only the lists are for. I mean, they are used for many other things. We have lists. You know, the FAA has lists. There's a lot.
I don't have a list of people I hate.
It's not people you hate.
But it's the FAA. That's a different story. This is a person who's in their house is making a list of other people on Twitter they hate.
What was the movie where the guy had the list and he kept crossing them off? Was it Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion?
I don't know. I never saw that.
Are you serious? You've never seen that movie?
Didn't really care to.
Oh, it was so bad, but it was so good. Oh
I think you're remembering it the same way that we always remember things from our youth.
No. Big Business, hello. I remember that as one of my favorite movies ever, and you and I sat and watched it, and it upheld the test of time. You laughed out loud multiple times during that movie.
That is different from what I'm talking about. That was a movie when you were in the 80s and you were a child, you watched with like your mother or something, of one of her favorite actresses, and you fell in love with it. It was a nostalgic trip. It wasn't a great movie.
Oh, it was a great movie.
I laughed, and Lily Tomlin will always make me laugh. And Bette Midler was great in it. Like, so, yeah, it's worth watching. I laughed at it, but it's not a great movie. It's a great movie in the sense of, like, Doc Holliday is a great movie. I love it. Woody Harrelson is hilarious in it, but it's not a great movie. It's a good, and, like, to use another Michael J. Fox movie, The Hard Way. James Woods and Michael J. Fox are not great in that movie. They're both great actors. You shut your mouth. This is like I can't even. Flames. No, but
out of my ears.
I just don't ever. No, that is it's. Don't ever say that about Big Trouble in Little China again. That's an amazing movie, and it stands the test of time. You know, like the movies I'm talking about
I know what you mean. I was messing with you.
But what I'm going back to say is like, so those are nostalgic movies.
True.
Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion is a nostalgic movie. The only people I hear talk about that movie being good are people who were like teenagers or in their 20s at that time.
When did it come out?
The 90s, like 95, 96,
yeah.
maybe even 97.
But they invented Post-its.
I get it.
Post-its.
Even the way you're talking, like there's no allure to it for me. So like, but remember back then I was watching like Dimension films. I was watching like Robert Rodriguez
totally
and
different upbringings.
and Tarantino movies. So like when people were like, "Oh, you should watch this," like I don't like Clueless.
That's fair.
A lot of people do, and
I do.
I completely.
But I see what you're saying.
It has merit. It's not a bad movie.
Sure.
I don't put it down. And this is funny because this is what I get hated for on Twitter. It's not a bad movie. I'm not on here saying Clueless is a bad movie. I'm just saying I don't like it.
Sure.
You say you don't like something, that means you get put on lists on Twitter. And that's my point. But Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, I never saw it. Never Been Kissed. That was a big movie in the 90s.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
but that was one of the movies where it was just, I don't know, it was almost like Meet the Fockers. Where I'm like, wouldn't you just stop? Like, wouldn't you just give up at a certain point and just be like, meh, I'm just gonna go do something else now?
yes, but that like, you can't in comedy. That's like the unwritten rule of comedy.
I understand.
No, in comedy movies.
It would be a terrible movie if that's what actually happened, but it's also about the suspension of disbelief that you are always talking to me about. Most movies I can play along with and be like, okay, yes, let's have the flying dragon with the little boy in the book, and they're going to go meet the princess who's 7 years old, and the horse dies, and it's a heartbreaking movie. But then you have this other movie where it's silly. There's no way that you would still try to marry this woman. You almost left. And Tommy just stood over your bed a couple of nights in the middle of the night.
That was some spooky stuff. That kid just stared at me while I was sleeping. I would wake up and there's just like...
You're in my spot.
There's a pod child staring at me. What is happening? I need to roll out.
But now that Jack comes into our bed, do you understand?
Because Jack doesn't stand over me. He comes in like...
No.
Mommy,
because he's
Daddy.
used to both of us being in the bed. Now what I'm saying is...
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It was just me. So he would come in and he would like where you sleep, that was his spot.
No.
And now there's someone else sleeping there. So
But now he'll wake up quiet as a ninja and stand over me still and just stand there until I wake up, and he scares the hell out of me. And I'm like, "What's up, dude?" And he's just like, "Hey, can I go play downstairs?" I'm like, "Why are you standing over me to ask this? Like, how long have you been there?" "Oh, a while." Like, you're just you're just waiting for your opportunity. Like, he's so nice. It's like
he's so sweet.
He's waiting for his opportunity to wake me up. And
remember when he used to lay in the hallway and his feet would just be in the room?
And I'd wake up and I'd see feet hanging in the room. Like, what is going on here? And dating a mom.
Tricked ya.
Yeah, it was funny. But going back,
anyway.
I did want to ask a question. Like, we were so far past the Irishman, but I wanted to ask a question about this. Now, having seen this de-aging with the performance the way it was, what do you prefer? Do you prefer movies where like you get younger actors and you see the makeup of making them older, or like a de-aging, like let's say like a movie that wasn't good in my opinion, and it was an Eastwood movie, which is crazy, J. Edgar.
I didn't see that.
All right, but something along those lines, a younger actor who took the role and was aged up throughout the role. I mean, maybe a biopic or something like that.
That's hard. That's a hard thing because the point is to get the next generation, to get, to think about the future and think about the next set of people that are going to be these names. If you think about it in music, I remember the first time I heard Green Day on a classical a classic rock music station and feeling like a little part of me inside die.
Mm-hmm.
However, having a young actor get, prosthetics, is that what they call the face makeup too?
Makeup, yeah.
So get the makeup done, and to play an older actor still to me is different than having an older actor using CGI to make them younger to play the same role throughout the movie. For some reason, and I understand that there is a sense of hypocrisy in it, but I still believe that you should get the young, and it's not even an age, and I don't even think it's so much an ageism, because if you can find someone, yeah, okay, maybe, then yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you should fit the role with the age, because there are plenty of old actors, and it's true especially with females. You hear all the stories about how when men age, they still are cast as the Bachelor or as, the Don Juan character.
Mm-hmm.
But then women, just get aged out, or then they play the grandma, or then they play this or that, and they don't get as many opportunities. So you know what? No, I don't think there's a difference. If you're going to have a young actor role, get a young actor. If you're going to have an old person role, then get someone who's old.
And it's funny you bring that up, and I kind of want to end on this, but if you think about it with The Irishman, now, there were some fine female performances in it.
True.
But for what they were, there was not many female performances in that movie.
Oh, not at all. They were all...
Very few spoken scenes.
Correct.
And now, if you think about it, none of them were really stars.
No.
Not like everybody else.
Correct.
That was on the male side. Because even you had Jim Norton play Don Rickles for a minute.
Right.
But other than Anna Paquin, I don't know any of the other actresses' names.
No.
And I'm sorry to say that.
Anna Paquin had one line.
Yeah, she really did. End. She really, and she was only in it for a little while.
Correct.
She was as the adult
child
version of that daughter, and she didn't even. She was the female character in that movie that had the least amount of lines, and she's probably the biggest star.
Correct.
On the female side of things in that movie.
I recognized a couple of the other ones, but I couldn't tell you what I saw them in.
The wife, Joe Pesci's wife in the movie, the one who wanted to smoke, stop and smoke every few. She was great as the mom in A Bronx Tale.
Mm.
She was fantastic, but she got relegated to wanting to stop to smoke, and then all you saw was in background.
Right.
So. And I recognized her from that. I'm sorry, I don't know her name.
Though.
But
I never
there was
thought
not a lot
it.
of, and I'm not trying to make this a sexist thing.
Well, no, but it was about a man's story, and at that time, it was men involved in the story he was telling. I get that. I'm not even complaining.
But if you think about it,
or whatever, no.
And they did, and it's funny because if you think about that too, they did get different actors to play the wives, or they aged the actors up.
Correct. Yep.
To play the wives.
Yep.
Or the girls and stuff like that.
Women.
His daughters were of course age appropriate.
True.
Actors.
But they were little when they first.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
But there was no de-aging there, which I get when it comes to this technology.
Sure.
You want to put it on the stars. But if you think about all the other male characters, you had Harvey Keitel play the mob boss, Angelo Buffalino, who barely has any lines in the movie.
Correct.
Sebastian Maniscalco, who was the comedian. He's a funny comedian. He played another. What do you call it? He played the
other boss or whatever.
The boss. It's stuff like that. These are stars. Mm-hmm. By men's rights, they're stars. And then you have women who... And I'm not saying they have to go and get stars, or these women didn't play the roles great. They did. What I'm saying is you put all these names in these male roles, and you didn't need them.
No.
You really didn't need a lot of them. A lot of them didn't need to be celebrities.
Correct.
It was cool to see the cameos, but...
it was.
when we talk about that, and it's not a sexism thing.
No, it's a curiosity. Like, why?
It's peculiar to see how, like, when we're talking about it, why weren't there? Was there nothing for like his wife to do?
Right.
Like, I mean, and it just like that seemed off to me. Like, not off, but like a little peculiar that, like, when it comes to
maybe not even so much peculiar, but noticeable.
Yeah. Okay. Noticeable is a better word, I think, than peculiar. So, and then when we get to the aging, we were talking about that. But that's what stuck out to me. Like I said, it's an epic movie with masterful performances, and it's worth sitting through.
It really was.
A lot of people are saying online that it was boring. But it's just ridiculous, and a lot of people were complaining that it's 3.5 hours. But
a lot of people like to complain.
They were yes, absolutely, and I'm going to be put on another list. But like a lot of people complained about Endgame being 3.5 hours, or Star Wars being at 3.5 hours. It's like, I'm tired of the articles where it's just like, it's just ridiculous at this point. But
if you think, but in addition to that, if you think about the way that the world is now, it is more about instant gratification than it ever has been. And I'm not sure that, in going back to talking about, our kids and wanting to excel at things without putting in the work. I think the way that it is now, it's like, I want it now, I want it as fast as you can give it to me, perfect, whatever, but I want it now and fast. And so these movies that are longer, and and I wonder about this with things like Lucifer, or what is the one about the interview with the killers?
Oh, Mindhunters,
where it takes so long in between, you lose, on a certain amount of your audience. I mean, Game of Thrones. So I read all of the books that have been published by George R. R. Martin.
Mm-hmm.
When the show started to come out, like, I was all in. However, I was really pissed that he was involved in the show before he finished even writing the books. Because if he dies, everything gets burned. Nothing is going to come out. Furious. However, I'm not going to go into that. But, it took so long in between seasons, I was like, I just really don't even care. I don't even care anymore, So, like, the 3.5 hour long movies, even though, again, I have zero complaints about it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was entertaining the entire time. There were so many great shots, too. And the slow scenes were very thought-provoking, and they still fit into the story. It didn't seem like they were there just to make it longer. It seemed like they were there to fit a purpose or to further the story.
Yeah.
But I think that most people now just, not most people, but those people who are complaining about the length are the type who are like, don't want to put in the work to get the glory. They just want the accolades, doing as little as possible.
Well, that's a good point.
Thank you very much. It was long-winded, but I got there.
No, it's fine. But I think that's a good point to kind of end on. And when we come back,
I will have seen a rocket launch from NASA's headquarters, from NASA's space launch place in Cape Canaveral.
Space launch place. That's what you need to call it.
I'm batting hundreds here, remember?
1,000. No, batting 1,000.
It was a callback.
Anyway, I will say this. Can't wait to hear your stories on it, and then our adventures in New Jersey. So we probably won't be doing another episode till like next Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah,
which will be interesting. But
maybe we'll do a mini one. We'll see. See
one
if
on
we
the
pack
road.
All the equipment.
I could do that. Interview my parents.
Hey,
how interesting is this? We hate each other. How's it going?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about this, Dad.
We could do it in the car.
Why are you so visceral in your answers to me? I can only see how that would go. But anyway, until then, we had a good time. But make sure, if you like this podcast, go check out our others on scenesnobs.com.
Yes.
And we also have the Scene Snobs podcast, the 20-minute wrestling podcast.
Which is really great. It's
video
really, really
reviews,
fun.
which I want to expand on that. We're going to be doing some more podcasts. I want Mary, the mommy, to do some video reviews on movies too.
We'll see.
We'll see how she does.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you have to interview for it?
Yep, absolutely. Audition.
Audition.
So you got to put yourself out. You got to have an erraticism that comes with it.
If you don't know about my erraticism up to now,
own it.
Mr. Scene Snobs.
Yeah. Well, anyway, make sure you follow us on, like us on Facebook at the Scene Snobs. Subscribe to us on YouTube channel, the Scene Snobs YouTube channel. I am at the Scene Snob on Instagram and Twitter, and Mary is straight out of nap time on Twitter, and at Mary the Mommy on Instagram. So make sure you go give us a follow, and you'll see more news from us of what's upcoming. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.